Stories have the power to change the world.
Brave stories help us see each other and empathize with one another.
And brave stories remind us what's important in life, and that is people.
Hi, my name is Tony Gapistone. I'm the founder and executive director of BraveMaker. We're a 501c3 nonprofit headquartered in Redwood City, California. And we exist to elevate brave stories for justice, diversity, and inclusion. With film screenings and now online conversations, we invite communities together to foster inclusion by having difficult conversations that are propelled through the story and the power of film.
I'm Christina Ray Jackson, former Miss Wheelchair California, and I'm an advocate and an actor. And it is my pleasure to be bringing these stories along here with Tony to you all to really understand the difficulties people are having in life, marginalized groups are facing, and how we can work together to share their stories in order to elevate all of our lives.
So since 2018, we started as a film fest. We snowballed into a monthly film screening with a public panel discussion that was available for the community to come and talk about things like racial justice, disability representation, LGBTQ plus inclusion, the mental health epidemic that we find ourselves in this country, and much, much more. But since COVID 19 changed our business model, we have taken everything that we've done online. So now Christina and I host regular conversations on our Facebook page and as well as YouTube to talk with advocates and makers, people who are creating art that is meant to change the way that we understand culture and inviting you to come and dialogue along with us.
Equity and equality are extremely important to me as an African American, as a woman, as someone part of the LGBTQ plus community, and as a person with a visible disability. Equality is a passion of mine, and it's something that we all deserve and something that we strongly believe in here at BraveMaker.
So what we're doing nowadays is we are approaching companies by saying, hey, how can we help you? What problems do you need to solve in your staff culture? Do you
Yes.
need to hold a survey for your staff executives to learn how to care for their people of color better? Do you need to hold anonymous sessions where Christina and others of our BraveMaker staff can hold a brave and safe space for your staff members of color to talk about the challenges that they're facing that they might not be able to share with executives who happen to be Caucasian or in the male demographic? We would love to be able to talk with you and use the power of our stories, but also use the partnerships that we've made through the arts.
And as someone who has felt the pain of being marginalized, is will now be having these very difficult conversations and seeing progress being made.
Give us a call. You can find us online at bravemaker.com. You can email us, and we'd be happy to do a follow up call with you.
Brave stories change the world, and we can help change the culture of your company.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the online BraveMaker experience. I am Tony Gapistone.
I'm Christina Jackson.
And today, hey, Christine and I just had a back-to-back conversation. So we're like, hey again, this is awesome. We are having a really cool conversation with one of BraveMaker's fiscally sponsored filmmakers today. And it's really special, I think, to be able to have Daryl B. Jones on today when it is Juneteenth. And if you don't know anything about Juneteenth, share a little bit of backstory. Hi, Daryl.
Hi, how are you doing?
Happy Juneteenth. Happy
Thank
Friday.
you very much. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thanks, everybody.
Yes, a very special day. So today is June 19th, and we are celebrating Freedom Day, Independence Day, however you like to call it. Juneteenth is a day when slaves in Texas found out that slavery had been abolished. So this is the day that we're all free. And we've been celebrating since about 11 o'clock this morning. So we hope everyone's having a good time this Friday and really feeling the love and the energy that we here at BraveMaker are trying to put out for everyone.
When we started BraveMaker a couple of years ago, it really was birthed out of the very conversation I want to have today with Daryl. I met Daryl, I don't know, maybe less than a year ago, I think, when he had submitted his short film, which we'll talk about in a minute, and discovered all of a sudden, wait, he is in the very city that I live in, another filmmaker who's doing this really profound justice, diversity, and inclusion work. And we had coffee, and I tried to kind of hold back my enthusiasm and not geek out too hard, because it seemed like my world was opening and I was benefiting from it. So on Juneteenth, when the Black community celebrates, I think for the white community, there's also a responsibility that's tied in with the grief that this day represents how the news of freedom did not reach those who were set free for 2.5 years. And that really brings me a conviction in my heart that the civil rights movement is it's so much work. We're so overdue with these conversations, but we're going to keep doing them because it's important, and lives are at stake, and Black lives matter. And today, Daryl B. Jones represents so much of this good work. So Daryl, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, I'm going to let Christina take it on, because we're going to start with Tender. Christina.
Yes. Yeah, I actually was introduced to Daryl's work through his documentary Tender, which follows the lives of trans women in San Francisco. And I live in the East Bay, spent lots of time in San Francisco, and had no idea that was even going on. So it was an eye-opener for me. And just the current climate, what's going on with our trans brothers and sisters, our Black trans sisters, I feel like it is so important to say, that we all deserve justice and equality and human rights. And we've been experiencing a lot of violence and tragedy in the LGBTQ plus community during the protests and things that are going on right now. So I just want to, put this out there, everyone, should be fighting for everyone's equality, and we're all doing this together. Like all Black people, whether you're straight or gay, we're all doing this together, and we have to work together, to achieve this goal. And let's jump back to Daryl. Talk to me about Tinder. What was it about this project that made you want to bring this to the screen?
Thanks, Christina. We are in Pride Month, and we're celebrating this opportunity for everyone to just come together and love and hug up on one another, right? And that's really nice. It's really beautiful. And that's where it kind of came out of me just wanting to be a part of that and wanting to do my part for LGBTQ communities to just be creative, to show support, to show activism as well. I always tell that part of my story while following up with this part of my story. Yes, I absolutely did this film, and yes, I absolutely do feel really, really proud of this work that I've done. But I learned a lot from the Black trans women that I worked with about this idea that we are all one inclusive LGBTQ community. That's not true. Over the years, we've seen just how untrue that is. A lot of social justice issues that are important to Black trans women are not important to, say, cisgender gay white men at all, right? Or even to me. One of the things that Janetta Johnson told me was, you as a Black cisgender man, you don't have a lot of the same issues that I have. So I came into making this film believing that I'm Black, I'm queer, we're all in this together, but learned that I'm not. And that's one of the things that I really like about the film. I think it does a really good job of showing, for people who are not a member of this community, just something new and different about this community that they wouldn't learn through mainstream entertainment.
Absolutely. I learned so much about the specific challenges, aside from the housing, but so many challenges that I don't take for granted at all. I mean, there are a lot of challenges that I face, being a woman, being Black, being queer also, but like the challenges they face for employment and housing and stability and safety. I mean, to not be able to just walk down the street, that's huge. And to live every day with that stress and that fear, that was really eye-opening to me.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Janetta Johnson is the CEO of TGIJP. They're a great organization. I was really happy to be able to work with them because of the advocacy that they do. They're a Black trans woman-led organization. They really care about working for their own community. They definitely have a belief system that is, if things are not being done for us, we will do them ourselves, which I think is magnificent and something that we are seeing a lot of, particularly now. People are tired of asking for things, right? They shouldn't have to ask for things. They want something, they get it. They want equality, they demand it, and I really appreciate that.
So Daryl.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you haven't seen Tinder, put it on the top of your list for LGBTQ. I mean, this is Pride Month. Definitely check that out. And yeah, Tony, you were saying?
Yeah, you can go see it at blackleaffilms.com/tender and support independent filmmakers. We're really glad that, Daryl, that you're a part of BraveMaker, and we selected that film because of the way that you elevate these stories. Yes, they are Black trans women, and they are human beings who have issues with housing, and I felt like that was just such a really cool entry into the story. We all live in the Bay Area. We all know how ridiculously expensive it is and hard it is to live here, and at the same time, we have to acknowledge the other burdens that are put on people because of our biases and our prejudices. And so I just love that, and we really want to encourage you, if you're watching this, to get a hold of Tender. I'd love the title. I think titles are so important, and I love how there's like this double meaning to that. So huge kudos to you on that. Today, I really want to elevate Daryl's next project, because we are in a time when racial injustices are surfacing. It's not like they're new. They've always been here. And for people like me in the white community, we are, hopefully opening up our eyes and our minds to the things that have been going on for hundreds of years. And it took lives, it took murders to be able to get to this place. And I don't think a lot of us are there yet, but we know through BraveMaker that stories help people enter in, to see behind someone else's eyes, to walk with them. I love the word empathy, to feel what other people are feeling. And documentaries are such a special part to this process. So Daryl, talk to us about the new Roxy and the vision for your next project here.
Thank you, Tony. You make a good point about the violence that we often see or hear about that happens to Black people. And that's one of the things that I wanted to work with for the new Roxy documentary. I'm looking at a movie theater that my family used to work at in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and examining Black film spectatorship during segregation and how families and friends manage that. What I'm trying to make is a documentary that deals with segregation, that deals with race, that deals with Jim Crow, but doesn't fetishize or make gratuitous the amount of violence that happened to Black people during that time. What I'd like to show is afterwards, the moments of love, the moments of camaraderie, the moments where Black people got together to just relax, to have a good time. And one of the ways they did that, particularly during the 60s and 70s, was through movies. And I just think it's wonderful.
So Daryl, Christine, if you have a question, I'll just lead in with this. So Daryl and his film, the way that I have been promoting it and talking about it has been something that, for me, when I think about the power of the arts, when he pitched the idea to become a part of our fiscally sponsored projects. Right now we have 3, Daryl's one of them, the first 3, which is really significant and meaningful to us. When he was pitching it, I immediately felt like, wow, what I'm hearing him talk about is his family, these cherished Black people in the community of Clarksdale, Mississippi, with all of the violence and trauma that they had to live under. One of the ways that they made sense of their life, the way that they bonded and really survived, was through the arts in this dark theater, as images and stories were projected on a screen. I mean, I kind of even just get chills right now thinking about that. It just reminded me, like, we have got to tell this story. I want to support Daryl as much as we can. If you're watching this, you're invited to come along on the journey with Daryl. And we are excited because Daryl got his first grant from the Mississippi Humanities Council. So we want to give them a shout out because they gave Daryl his first grant to help launch him into this. And Daryl, just want to give you a moment to sort of talk about the future. Obviously, things are challenging with COVID, but what will the resources that you get, and they're all tax deductible, so people who come alongside you, what is it going to enable you to do for this film?
Thanks, Tony. Let me go back to something else that you mentioned and segue into that. You know, we're talking about these movie theaters being places of camaraderie and being places of safety. And we are now in this era of COVID-19 where we can't exactly go to movie theaters, you know, and we are at 25% capacity. You know, they're going bankrupt. I think we can all right now appreciate the importance of movie theaters, right? Like not just movies, but the act of going to a movie theater and sitting with other people, right? Even now we miss that. Imagine the sort of comfort that people got from it in the 1960s and 70s under segregation. Imagine Black people being able to go to a movie theater together as a group and just bond. That's the sort of thing that we're trying to get back to. So fundraising, which you know will really help, one, bring a lot of these stories to life. I'm right now working with my family, which has really close ties to this movie theater. My uncle was a projectionist there. My grandfather was an usher and a janitor there. My dad practically grew up there, you know. I heard stories of other members of the family having to come in and help my grandfather sweep up all the popcorn afterwards. But those are just my family stories. And there are so many more people in Clarksdale who went to that theater and enjoyed it. And I'm able to find a few, but I know that there are so many more out there. One of the issues that I'm having also is that this was, what, 40, 50 years ago. A lot of these people are getting older, and I'm afraid that I might lose touch with some of them. So I do have on that page, if you scroll down, Tony, a request for people who might have gone to that theater. If you have any archived materials, if you you know, have stories to share, you're free to do that. It's something that I'm really, really looking for, more participation, an opportunity to get more archive materials, photos of the theater in the 60s and 70s, photos of Clarksdale from that time period as well.
I love those pictures on there.
Thank you very much. My family, and the young man in the bottom left is a friend of my dad's. They went to high school together. Yeah. Actually, I think they were friends for even longer than that.
So if you're watching this and you happen to live in Clarksdale, Mississippi, or you know anybody who is connected to the new Roxy Theater, you can email Daryl at info@blackleaffilms.com, info@blackleaffilms.com, and help participate in the story. Christina, you have any questions as I pull up that information there? Oop.
Yeah, I actually just watched a film on Netflix recently that really helped bring it home how important it is to have theaters like this available and up and operating, and sharing brave stories that filmmakers have put in so much work and effort into bringing to life. So if you have not seen Dolomite Is My Name, have you seen this movie, Daryl?
No, it's on my list, but I will watch it for sure
I
now.
won't spoil any of it for you, but if you're an actor, a filmmaker, if you're operating a small theater and you're struggling and you need some motivation, encouragement, why we have to keep these theaters open, you got to check out Dolomite Is My Name. I mean,
will
this
for
is
sure.
an African American who paved the way for himself. He kicked down those doors for himself. He kept going until he made it work. I know a lot of the times we, like as actors, as filmmakers, like we can't wait for someone to hand us a script or hand us a job. Like we have to make these opportunities for ourselves, and we have to keep these kind of theaters open to so that we could share our work, you know, so that once we put in all the work and effort and we have this beautiful finished product like Tinder, there's theaters where we could share the work and come together and enjoy them together. So this is great.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So Daryl has all his information for the film at newroxydoc.com. And because he's a part of BraveMaker, if you are so inclined to support, you can write off your donation. And my goal for him is I want to see him raise $50,000 this summer.
Yeah.
So we're looking
Yes,
for
we do.
$50,000 this summer. And I have already started on my personal Facebook page with my birthday fundraiser to raise 1,000 of it, and we're already at 685. So thank you to all of you who gave, even just in the last 24 hours. It's really cool. But here's a cool opportunity. Technology is so amazing. You can give at newroxydoc.com. You can just go and click on that. There's a giving link there. But you can also just do it right from your phone. Grab your phone, text message the words Brave Roxy to 44321. That's Brave Roxy to 44321, and you'll get a link right on your phone, and you can give right to Daryl, and this money will be tax write-off, and it's going to support him. And you know, COVID has challenged filmmakers because there's a lot of different regulations, which Daryl wrote a whole article about. Daryl, talk about some of the things that are going on that you're talking about in ethical guidelines for a documentarian and things that have just been posted.
Oh, sure. Yes. So on New Day, if you go to New Day's blog, I believe, I do have an article on there that talks about ethical guidelines for documentary filmmaking. And, you know, it's just something that I wrote to talk about how I feel about it. With Tinder, it was really a learning experience for me. And I had to recognize that I am not a part of this community, that this community is giving me its time, its effort, its people, and not just Black trans women, but the neighborhood of the Tenderloin as a community as well is giving itself to me. And as a filmmaker, I've got to be careful how I record. And other filmmakers need to also take note. Be careful of how you record, be careful of what you record, especially if you're not a part of that community. I'm really big on that. I don't think that you should be recording things just because you feel you want to learn about them. You know, you should be ingrained in the community that you're with.
I love that.
Sounds like a good directive just in how we engage in listening and conversations in general, right? Sometimes we can come in and take over and not be a good listener and put our ideas and opinions out there. But the mandate of a documentarian is to find that story, to listen to the story and let it bubble up and curate, you know, all of the subjects. So that's really, really beautiful. And Daryl didn't get to say this, but Daryl also teaches film at UC Santa Cruz, which is pretty cool. So he's not just a filmmaker, he's a film professor. So he's got a lot of experience, and we're really glad that you're a part of the BraveMaker family, Daryl. We support you, we're for you. Anything else you want to say before we close up here?
Sure. We have the slogan at BraveMaker that you are the story, and I absolutely believe that. You know, that's all about you being the story and you making the film that's about your community. I'm absolutely for it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes. Yeah. And if you would like to join the work of BraveMaker in any way, you have a story to tell, whether it is a documentary or it's a narrative film, you can go to our website, bravemaker.com, and there's an application form if you have a project you want to share with us. And it fits in our mission for elevating brave voices for justice, diversity, and inclusion. We'd love to include you in that. Christina, anything else you want to say before we close off?
Black Lives Matter. Happy Juneteenth, and enjoy your weekend, you guys.
Black Lives Matter. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Right on. Please support All of your donations are tax deductible. We want to see this film get made. And finally, the last word, Daryl, great historic project. Can't wait to see this film. Indie theater houses are unique and supportive for the arts.
Thank you, Robert.
That's our last word. Thanks, Robertino. Bye, everybody. Brave stories change the world. You are the story.
Thank you.